Bonjour, habari za leo. My name is Daniel Adeni, a professional officer at ICLEI Africa.
My name is Sinetemba Mtetwa, an intern at ICLEI Africa.
My name is Paul Curry, manager of the Urban Systems Unit at ICLEI Africa. On behalf of ICLEI Africa, the African Centre for Cities, Our Future Cities, and partners, I'm excited to welcome all of you to the Rise Africa 2021 Action Festival.
Rise Africa has been growing as a platform of thinkers, doers, and enablers, committed to inspiring action for sustainable cities.
Rise Africa is about building active networks across academia, government, private sector, civil society, and the arts.
Our entry point is not based on articulating problems followed by proposing solutions, but rather on celebrating our cities as places of innovation and culture, while asking, what more can we do to make them sustainable, inclusive, and vibrant?
This festival is hosting 46 sessions from across 16 countries in Africa and the world. Every session aims to share new ideas, showcase ongoing actions, and launch new initiatives by bringing participants together to chart a new route forward.
We hope that the festival program will inspire you to commit to one or more specific actions that you or your organization will take on. As this session closes, you will be redirected to a survey in which you can articulate these actions. We will follow up on these committed actions throughout the year and offer resources, connections, and support. In this way, we are testing the idea that events can galvanize actions, and we hope that you will join us in this effort.
Beyond the session, there are many ways to take part in the festival.
Register for further sessions.
Vote for your favorites in the photo competition.
Watch a variety of inspiring video provocations.
Test your knowledge of African cities from our daily quiz.
And listen and dance to the Rise Africa 2021 playlist.
We hope that you will make all the attempts to reach out to new people and build long-lasting connections.
Before we begin, it is important to note that this session is being recorded, and that by participating, you are consenting to be recorded. All the recordings will be available on the program page after the festival.
And may I say that creative expression is vital for creating new futures for our cities. So we invite you to enter this session in the spirit of creativity and dreaming. Thank you very much.
1. When people ask me where I'm from, I tell them, I am from red dirt and green hills, endless mango trees whose small sun of a fruit is always within arm's reach, smells so sweet your stomach speaks in small roars of impatience as you sip your cup of chai waiting for meals to finish cooking. I am from the sounds of my people, languages so rhythmic you think we spoke in song, the melodies of matatu conductors waving on crowded city streets, and the crow of roosters calling the sun from behind the horizon in the village. 2. When people ask me where I am from, I tell them, I am from a country mispronounced into modernity by wandering white men, from big men with small minds who stole the spoils of our struggles with no shame or foresight. I tell them I come from those who resisted, those whose dreams defied their bullets even after their breath was stolen from their bodies. 3. When people ask me where it is I'm from, I tell them I am from a new story about this country, this continent, this world. A new tale told by new authors, unafraid to wield the pen as a small spear, our ancestors as shield, our history as armor, as we use our words to help write this world anew.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this session. This session is about building localized community data in the case of Tanzania. We have a couple of presentations to make to you, but before that, so my name is Msc. I'll be the facilitator of this session. And so in the session, we're going to listen to different presentations from the Resilience Academy experts. We're going to listen presentation from students who have been experienced and worked with Resilience Academy. We're going to hear presentation from partner organizations, and then we go to the discussions. So begin, before we actually start, I would like to welcome Venla to start with the engagement. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you, everyone joining this session. My name is Venla Aaltonen. I'm from city of Turku in Finland. I've been part of the Resilience Academy for over a year now, and the University of Turku is one of the abroad partner universities of Resilience Academy. But first, before we start, we would like to know a bit more about you participants of the session. I have shared a link to the chat, which directs you to a poll. We have 3 polls in this session. They come before every section, and the first question we would like to ask is where are you from? You should be able to access this kind of page. It first asks you to set a username. Also, you can also skip the step. And after that, you should be able to access this poll question, where you can just click the country where you're from. This way we can see a little bit of what is the distribution of participants. I will share the live map. Oh, I can see some answers already. Just take a half minute of time to answer this one, so we can see where everyone are from. Tanzania is the location of Resilience Academy, as probably you already know, and nice to see that we have quite global and international participants here as well. I'm from South Africa also, nice. Maybe a few more seconds. If you have any issues with this one, you can also ask any instruction from me from the chat. This should be quite easy to use. From neighboring countries of Tanzania, nice. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, we have this stored. We can look at this later as well. If we have any later participants, they can also access this. I will leave this active. But now I would like to give the floor back to Nsilikale, and he can present the next speaker. Thanks, everyone. Let's get back to this one later.
Thanks, Venla. Yeah, the idea of that kind of engagement was just to know where is everybody from. So thanks, Venla, for leading us. But to start, now we would like to welcome our first presenter. And this is Dr. Juma Lungo. Dr. Juma Lungo is from University of Dar es Salaam. And he's been working in as a coordinator of the Resilience Academy from the University of Dar es Salaam. And he will be giving you about the Resilience Academy. So if you give me a second, I will share my screen now to the presentation and welcome Dr. Lungo. Karibu. You might need to unmute yourself if you're muted, Dr. Lungo.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the session. I will introduce to you the Resilience Academy. As Sirikali presented to you, my name is Lungo from University of Dar es Salaam, Department of Computer Science and Engineering. We have been participating in this project and from the day 1 of the Resilience Academy. Next, please. So through the Resilience Academy, we are addressing challenges that were there before, and we have seen some opportunities while addressing those challenges. Number 1 was data availability, access, and actions. So before, if you want simple things like share files and the different data, then you have to call your friends or whatever, get this. Sometimes you have to buy those data, but now we found out this is a challenge. especially if you want to access spatial data and if you want to do research around that. And also knowledge around spatial data and the Resilience Academy in general was a bit low, not wide. So then it was a bit challenge to deal with the spatial data, but then we found that this is a challenge. We have to create local knowledge and get feedback from the beneficiaries. Also, digital skills and human capital, we are involving, I'll talk later, but you can see that we're involving 5 universities and many students so that we're imparting skills around the spatial data again and the spatial data and the risk database, etc. We are also implementing or improving local sustainabilities for the these spatial knowledges. We have to have local sustainability, people who can actually continue with collecting, analyzing, visualizing spatial data. So through the academy is giving us these opportunities, and also we have seen that it was timely because there were a lot of disrupting technologies. There's low cost and a lot of complexities in acquiring data. For example, data acquisition tools. You can use your smartphones, etc., etc. And also there are a lot of availabilities of open source software. So, for example, we are using GeoNote as one of open source technologies, and you can get it for free, customize, implement your data. And also it was timely because we were having partnership with universities, development partners, and other stakeholders. Next, please. So when we talk of disrupting technologies, so technologies disrupting data collection and the management of risks were readily available nowadays. For example, citizen participation, it is possible to mobilize citizen participation because they have those technologies that you can use to collect data. There's a availability of mobile phones, so you can use mobile phones for data collections. Also, drones technology has improved in satellite revolutions, so it is possible to access satellite images and also to have your own, or maybe to access to drones and drones images. Internet of Things, they are also available, and also artificial intelligence, so we can make a lot of analysis and predictions because of these technologies are available nowadays. Next, please. So, as I said, this academy is collective activity from different universities and partners. So we have University of Turku, is from Finland, but also we have 4 universities in Tanzania, Ardhi University, University of Dar es Salaam, Sokoine University of Agriculture, and State University of Zanzibar. We are also working with other partners in the Netherlands, like University of Twente and the Delft University of Technologies. So this academy has been operational in Tanzania since 2018 as a cooperation between the World Bank, was the main funder, the universities, and the national and international partners of the Tanzania. Grounded on long-term institutions cooperations. So before there was TAP and the UICT. So then this academy is continuing the activity of Tanzania Urban Resilience Programs, which was led by the World Bank, and also the 4 universities plus 1 in in Finland. They were also running UICT projects. So together, we are continuing with those previous projects, and we came up with this Resilience Academy. Next, please. So our mission is to address SDG 4 and 5. So is to generate new generations university graduates need to be competent with novel data and technologies and master their dynamic interface with societies, and as well as emerging needs to create innovation and impact-based data solutions. This is our mission. Next. So we are trying to fulfill our mission through the following strategy. Again, we are using open source, affordable and local adaptable digital tools and technologies with community engagement and mapping that we can make data and services widely accessible. Next. Now, through our missions and the strategy, we are now offering the following services: open digital data, data collection and analysis with the students, interns, and the local mappers, digital microtasking for data collection, validation, and analysis. We're offering also training of digital data and disaster risk management skills. We are also offering research and innovations. So our discussion will be around the services to make sure that at the end, you can actually know. See the next. So in terms of open digital data, we have created what we call a climate risk database, which is an open access geospatial data repository, which supports universities' skills training, e-learning delivery, research, and innovation actions, and hands-on disaster risk decisions and management. So the climate risk database is a backbone to data-driven learning and service infrastructure of this academy. As I said, we have customized the GeoNode. So the address is geonode.academy.ac.tz so that you can use it to access data. You don't need to ask someone if you are looking for shell files, which are there. If you are looking for satellite images, you can just go and access it. So in terms of accessing data and also minimal visualizations, you can access it even without asking. We'll hear more about this. Next. And then how do we collect data? Data collection, we're doing it with students and interns. So under professional supervision of the community mapping partners, students collect missing spatial information, validate digital data sets, and conduct geospatial data analysis for the clients. So internship feature is happening during the industrial placement, and we usually engage 20 to 200 students for a duration of 4 to 12 weeks, consisting of online tasking and field mapping and lab work. So if we want to map, for example, you can see there we are kind of mapping drainage systems. So we can analyze and we can detect the problematic areas of the drainage systems. Then we can recruit like 200 students. So you can follow the drainage system from A to Z. If you are mapping like trees, we'll get more stories about this. If you are mapping like business places, then you can guide the students during their fieldwork places, usually after the end of semester 2, and you can map a lot. Next. So the students and the interns, we are guiding them. So we train them, check their phones. There are some phones which are not compatible, and then we can deploy them. So the Msc Academy coordinates student selection and the management prior and after the internship period, and they provide basic training with the geospatial data quality and the data sharing to the climate risk database. So students host organizations, coordinates, mobilize, and manage the students during the data collection campaign, and clients may funds and set up the data requirements for the Resilience Academy and for the students hosting organizations. So we have different partners. You will hear them from different presentations. Next. So about the service of digital microtasking of the Resilience Academy, microtasking is particularly efficient for partners and clients who need to collect and process digital data and need local data collection or validation integrated into the work processes as micro-sized tasks. So for example, you have maybe a municipal and they want to validate, or maybe they just want to add spatial data for their list of, let's say, business database. So they know all the businesses because they have given them licenses. But maybe this data is missing spatial data. So then we can say we can take that as customized work or digital microtasking, and then we can work together with them. So students can be mobilized to tasking via online platforms with the micro payments integrated, or tasking can be distance or based on field data collections. Skills development can be integrated into the work processes together with the university experts. So in this micro tasking, it is where now you are addressing specific need, but real life needs, and then you can get knowledge, but also our students can get opportunities to get something. Next, please. The Resilience Academy is also offering training on data and disaster risk management skills. So we have developed e-learning resources to facilitate uptake of relevant conceptual and hands-on geospatial and risk management skills and competencies. So all the materials are packaged into micro-sized MOOCs. MOOCs are like small lectures and practicals that you can get like for an hour, half an hour. So you can actually learn by yourself. So these materials are packaged into micro-sized MOOCs, which are open access through a learning platform called Digicampus. So we're actually using Digicampus, and we have hosted our training materials. And these materials are also being used locally in different courses at the universities. So an instructor can actually, let's say you want to conduct a specific practical, let's say on a MAT criteria analysis, something like you want to expand a road and you want to demonstrate to your students how you can maybe identify the houses which need to be MOOCs, and you can get a practical and you can use it in your class because the materials are open access. Next, please. So, of course, when we talk of universities, research and innovation is main activities. So research and innovation partnerships offer opportunities to pilot out of the box service solutions, which reduces the risk of often associated with the scaling data and the technology solutions. So for example, what you see here in this photo is like high precision GPS surveying. So something like this can be tested at the university because we have many people to test, but also we can compare because we have the database of researchers. So these partnerships provide university staff and students key opportunities to participate in cutting edge research and innovation solutions with the various clients and stakeholders. Next, please. So we have like different use cases. The Resilience Academy has delivered or has implemented different use cases like the community asset and threat mapping in the suburbs of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. So communities obtain the maps of the assets and hands-on skills for improved flood management. We have also another case on soil mapping of Dar es Salaam, whereby improved modeling of rivers and their geomorphological and sedimentation processes was developed. We have also another case in Zanzibar, building footprint digitization in Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar, whereby up-to-date information for urban planning, disaster risk management, and the assessment of risks was conducted. These are kind of case studies that the Resilience Academy has offered as one of their services. Next, please. So through the Resilience Academy, we're offering different opportunities. For example, to collect missing database on local talents and affordable tools and devices. GIS is expensive because collecting GIS data, it is very expensive. But through this academy, we are mobilizing staff, experts, to train students so that we can have this community mapping or participatory mapping. We are also making use of outsourced digital data collection, validation, analysis, and the processes as microtasking to local students and youth for income generation and employment. So we have the students and also we have youth. They can participate in these services offered by Resilience Academy. And to them, they learn a lot, but also it is a way of their income. So if you work with the Resilience Academy, you're actually creating a kind of employment. Reduce investment risks related to digital data and technology solutions by piloting of data-driven solutions. So if there is like this high precision GPS, it means it can be tested because we have these activities and we have many testers. In that way, it is an opportunity to the manufacturers or to the users of those new technologies that yes, it works, or maybe it needs improvement. We train people with geospatial data and climate resilience skills. So this, again, from the slide one, it was one of the challenges. People don't know how can you predict like the risks of maybe rivers or maybe staffed drainage. But through this academy, we can actually demonstrate to them and we're imparting these skills. Next. So thank you very much, Asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Dr. Lungo, for your presentation. So if you just joined the session, welcome. This is the session that discusses about building localized community data with the case of Tanzania. The session is mainly focusing on showing different cases that Resilience Academy have gone through in making this localized community data. We have several presentations. The first have been presented by Dr. Lungo. We would request you to please kindly save the questions during the question and answers. All the presenters will be available to provide answers. So we'll use the slot of question and discussion and answers so that you're able to answer. But when you're asking the question during the session and answers, you can point out to who you would like to ask the question. So now we'd like to go to the next presentation. The next presentation is done by Teofrida Maginga. Teofrida is one of the Resilience Academy experts from Sokoine University of Agriculture in Morogoro. And he's going to take us through the climate risk database. Welcome.
Thank you, Philly, for such a nice introduction. So I'm gonna wait for you to share the screen.
Okay, I have not shared my screen, okay. Okay, we'll share my screen now.
Okay.
I hope now you can see it.
Yes, I can. As Msc Kale has introduced me, I'm Teofrida Maginga from Sokoine University of Agriculture in Morogoro. And welcome to Rise Africa, building localized community data in Tanzania. And I'm going to talk about climate risk database, or CRD. Next. So the aim of Resilience Academy Climate Risk Database is to provide access to Tanzania Urban Resilience Program data, also to prepare training materials that help experts to understand how GeoNode works as an open source platform, and also prepare data management protocol, conduct training to Resilience Academy University experts and students, and also to be used for analysis and research. Next. So somebody could ask themselves, what is GeoNode? Because this is GeoNode is a geospatial content management system, a platform for management and publication of geospatial data. And it is a web framework based, made from a combination of open source platform for non-specialized or non-tech people to actually to upload, describe, and share geospatial data, and also create the interactive map. So we have the part where there is user interface, application server, and the database that stores all the data for accessing those geospatial data. Next. So we have different components on climate risk database. We have a layer where all the data are uploaded, displayed, and edited. And also we have the thematic map where thematic maps are being created. So the thematic maps come from different layers being put together to create a meaningful map. And we have different resources, all the documents that are stored to help different users in their levels. And we have the community of data producers, data users, and other communities, and all the people that are interacting with the climate risk database. They come together, share the details, and also share the resources. Next. So with climate risk database, we have geospatial data that are categorized into two parts. We have the raster datasets that are 11, and we have the vector dataset that is 84. As we understand that raster data are quite bigger, they are quite bigger spaces, and that is why we have few of them, but we also have 84 vector datasets. Next. And we have 6 thematic maps that identify different scenarios, especially in Dar es Salaam, because most of the layers or the datasets that we have were collected in Dar es Salaam. So these are a few thematic maps that we have in the climate risk database. Next. So somebody could ask themselves, how is the data being collected or being processed in the climate risk database? For us, we have the data producers who have the task of collecting the data and delivering those finalized data sets and metadata to CRD data managers, who are the second part of the whole process of managing data into the CRD. So these data managers, they have the task of doing the quality control, checking the data if they qualify all the requirements, and also they publish and store the data, as in the finalized data set is published in the climate risk database and backup versions, because we sort of like need to back up the data into a iCloud server. And also we have the data users, those end users who are actually accessing these openly accessible data from the climate risk database, which are used by urban resilience community under the terms of data licenses. Next. So for data management protocol, we have different resources. As I said, we have general resources, as in the resources that talks about the data management protocol, but we have resources for data providers, for somebody who wants to give us data, for somebody who would love to have data that should be shared into our climate risk database. So we have resources for data providers, and we have the resources for data managers, for someone who wants to be in our community and they want to know what are the do's and don'ts on quality control checklists for our data. We have the resources for them, and we also have resources for data users that have access to downloading the layers and also interacting those data from the CRD to QGIS via WFS or WMS. Next. So in general, in a general perspective, the climate risk database has got several impacts. It has impacted to more than 10 students to have access to data for research. Students have used this data that have been provided on CRD for research purposes. And we have generated 200 plus skills around data collection, data quality, and data updating. And also 200 plus data visualization challenges were generated. These visualization challenges were done during 2019 up to 2020. So many students participated in these challenges and they learned a lot. And from climate risk database, we have actually came up with more than 30 data managers community, and we have also produced 20 plus training materials for all the modules that are developed under the industrial training, which is a program for helping students to know how to collect data, to interact with the geospatial data, and how to interact with such kind of platforms. Next. And this marks the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for paying attention, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Tafida Maginga. That is the second presentation. Again, we insist you to kind of requesting you to save all the questions as much as possible, because we have several components to present to you toward generating the localized community data. And now the next presenter, it's called Zakaria Ngereja, Dr. Zakaria Ngereja from CRD University in Tanzania, who is going to take us through another component of the Resilience Academy. I'm trying to multitask in sharing the screen. So now I will share the screen as follows. Yeah, okay. Karibu Zakaria.
Asante. Hi all, my name is Zakaria Ngereja from CRD University. CRD University is one of the partners in the Resilience Academy. My presentation will center on e-learning training materials, which are developed in the Resilience Academy project. Next. Now, in the Resilience Academy, we also developed a number of training materials, and these materials were aimed at providing training for trainers. The trainers are usually academic staff from participating universities, and the training to students from various programs from these participating universities. And in doing that, we also identify university courses related to the e-learning materials that are produced, and also to develop curricula based on these e-learning courses. Next. The procedure for developing these e-learning resources, as you can see from the diagram, we first define the objectives for the module and the prerequisites that are required from the students, and then we develop the content for the materials. After developing the content for the material, then we select the target curricula, meaning that we select the courses or the program from the participating university that can use these e-learning resources for academic staff to use in their teaching, but also as a learning material for students. And after selecting the target courses, what to follow is providing training of trainers for the target courses. Those academic staff who participate in teaching certain module or certain e-learning materials in a program, in academic program, then given a training on these e-learning resources. And after that training, the materials are refined. After refinement, they are made to mini courses and being uploaded into the platform. And these materials are then embedded into university regular courses. meaning that academic staff can use these developed learning resources to be teaching materials for their courses, as well as they can be used as short courses to the targeted stakeholders. After this, then we measure the impact on the students or for the participants who have taken the courses. And thereafter, the courses are refined and the content are updated. Next. The slide before this. In the developed e-learning materials, we have a number of themes. The first theme is open data for resilience. This theme has 3 modules. The first module is a journal installation, customization, and maintenance. This is a specific course to teach students and academic staff how to install the journal, how to do the customization, and the maintenance of the journal, the open source platform, which is a content management for spatial data creation and management. And module 2 is on geospatial data quality, management, and sharing. This module teaches the student how to monitor the quality of data, how to manage, and how to share spatial data. And module 3 is on data visualization for resilience. This module teaches students how to prepare data for visualization, and the students are being taught various visualization tools that they can use to visualize the data. Next. One of the outcome of the data visualization module is the visualization challenge. This is a challenge that is conducted by students, participating students. Students are given themes that they can use the already collected data to find solutions to the problem and then develop visualizations. In the year 2019, we had 260 students who participated in the visualization challenge. And in the year 2020, we had 171 students who participated in the challenge. And you can see some of these students who participated and who won the challenge. Pictures, some of these to the organizers. Next. Next slide. Another theme is flood resilience in a changing climate. This theme has 2 modules, which is module 4 and module 5. Module 4 is about flood mapping and modeling for urban resilience, and module 5 is climate change impact on resilience. So all these modules creates improve the skills to understand the underlying risk related to changing climate precipitation in particular, as well as practical digital skills to measure, to map and predict floods in infrastructure poor and rapidly growing cities of the global south. Next. Another theme is community mapping for improved resiliency planning. This theme has 2 modules, module 6 and module 7. Module 6 is about participatory mapping for improved resilience planning. And the module 7 is about community urban risk mapping. This is an online course. So all these themes create a knowledge base and a digital skill in order to use different community-driven methods and practices in location technology solution for mapping, local risk, but also planning sustainable futures of the cities. Next. Another theme, which is the last theme, is about Earth observation for resilience. This theme provides practical skills to students on current technologies, mainly unmanned aerial vehicle technology, the drones and the digital satellites, and the drone image data processing, and the current technology like machine learning in satellites and the drone image processing, and the mapping of exposure, hazard, and the risk. So these are novel technology that are used on Earth observation instrument to improve access to vast data resources in remote sensing, and that they can be used to monitor urban growth and the quality of environment in our environment. Next. All these modules are uploaded into the Resilience Academy website. We have a Resilience Academy website in the learning resources. So you can see module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5, and module 6. All these are accessible by anyone who wants to learn these skills and get knowledge on the Resilience Academy in the urban environment. So students and the staff are directed to visit the website so that they can benefit from the resources that have been developed by the Resilience Academy. Anybody, anywhere in the world is welcome to use these resources for teaching, for learning. Next. Again, the same resources are also uploaded in the Digicampus. Digicampus is an online learning platform that is being hosted in Finland. So it is a platform that is used to develop these MOOCs, online materials, and they are free and easily accessible, as it was in the Resilience Academy e-learning. Next. In the Digicampus, users who want to access these materials are required to register in the system. They can log in with a given account, or they can log in using their Google, their Gmail account, or their Moodle login account, but also they can log in as guests, and they have access to all the materials that have been developed in the Resilience Academy. Next. This is what you can see when you log into the Digicampus. You will see the theme, all the minimums that you want to learn. Once you select that MOOC, this is a self-testing quiz or test that students who use these materials can test their knowledge, but also you can find practicals. These are self-learning practicals, step by step. So any user or any student can use these materials by self at home, and then they can earn credit from their courses. Next. Another component in the e-learning is a student research component. We also conduct research component to students, mainly postgraduate students or master's students, where there are a number of research themes, and these themes are given to students who can do research using data collected in the Resilience Academy. Next. So the aim of the Resilience Academy research is to provide opportunity for research and innovation activities related to urban resilience. So here, students who have the opportunity to participate in this research, they use data, massive amount of data that has been collected in the Resilience Academy, and they can provide innovative solutions based on those spatial data sets. Next. In the Resilience Academy, there has been a number of research topics, research project, master's research projects. The first one was a research on a river flood rating with camera. And the second one was rainwater harvesting benefits. The third one is rainfall prediction with machine learning. The fourth one is image classifier for Dar es Salaam tree cover. And then the last one is drainage updates for land use plans. All these are some of the research projects that are being conducted by master's students from the participating universities in Tanzania. And some of these are being done by our partners in Europe. Next. Now, what has been the role of e-learning and research in the Resilience Academy? What has been the impact of these e-learning resources? So far, we can count a number of impacts. We have about 300, more than 300 students who have benefited with the training from the Resilience Academy, and more than 50 academic staff from universities have benefited with the different skills and the knowledge from the Resilience Academy. We have more than 30 university courses that have been identified and are currently benefiting with the Resilience Academy modules. And we have about more than 200 students who have benefited with the training materials, especially during the COVID-19 situation. Not only that, I think the current students are continuing to benefit too. And more than 10 researchers has been identified from 4 universities so far. Next. So new knowledge and skills are generated from the research conducted by students, and therefore this provides the foundation for the next generation of urban and resilience experts. And we expect that students who are benefiting from these skills and knowledge will become the next generation urban and resilience experts in our countries or elsewhere in the world. Next. This marks the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Zakaria, Dr. Zakaria from Arid University. I realize that since the presentation might be long, and if you have a question, please put in the chat, and then we can use that as we go along to, I see there are already questions, but we can come to that afterwards. But before we go there to the questions, I would like to invite to present the last component of the Resilience Academy. And this is kind of very important component for the involvement and toward the generating community data. and this is Raya. So Raya Idris Ahmada is a assistant lecturer from State University of Zanzibar. And I'm going to present about the industry training. Now again, I need to share my screen. I hope you can see my screen now. Raya, up to you.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Msc Likale. As Msc Likale has introduced me, my name is Idris Ahmada from the State University of Zanzibar. And in this part of presentation, I'm going to talk on the industrial training and internship program as organized by the Resilience Academy. Next, please. So the aim of the industrial training engagements to the students actually is to provide skills for data quality, data management, and data sharing, as some of the parts have been explained by my colleagues previously. Also, it provides skills and practical experience for data collection tools, community engagement techniques, while doing community mapping and data analysis after data collections. As other presenters will come to talk about, is that the students engaging the community in the whole process of collecting the data. It also engaged students with the methodology in doing data collection for both online and offline, using their mobile phones and using computers. It also gives them tips and tricks for rectification of UAV imagery, protocol for data collection, data analysis, and data visualization. As you have seen, the data visualization challenge has been explained previously. Also, there's a thematic area on the drones and other related technologies. They also learned how to make metadata of the data they collected during the industrial training. So this is an ongoing project, and the students are learning all the components are in part of their internship program. Also, students learn the use of online digital learning, as we have seen the case for the Digicampus, in which some of the modules, the students are taking some of the modules that are available in the Digicampus. Next slide, please. So there are many skills that the students are gain or that they develop during the industrial training, which include GIS training. So they are trained on the use of GIS. Also, they get community engagement. So they work with closely with the community, and they get data collection tools. They get to understand more on the data collection tools. Also on drones and innovation, thematic mapping, household survey, and data quality control, metadata, and data sharing. So the industrial training or the internship program is organized to make sure that several skills that the students gain when they finish the internship. Next slide, please. So with this training, actually, we are collaborating with the different partners and other organizations. Apart from the World Bank, there are other organizations that coordinate field working activities in different parts of our university. For example, here is an example we have for SUA, that is the Sokoine University of Agriculture, OMDTZ, I think previously the Ramani Huria and Greenstein are the ones that coordinate the fieldwork program. And the activities involve the tree and canopy mapping, and in both Morogoro and Dar es Salaam. And for the case of SUSA, there's a special collective company which work hand in hand with the SUSA coordinators to make sure they coordinate the fieldwork activities for the students. And the work that has been performed include the digital microwork, mapping for tourist site features in Nungwis and others. And for the case of ARO and UDSM, The organization that coordinates fieldwork is OMDTZ, and the work includes digital microwork, community mapping for flood resilience at Kigamboni, just to mention the few. Next slide, please. So as an example here, we have for the case of the State University of Zanzibar for the year 2019 and 2020. Actually, we have trained we covered almost about more than 42 shahirs that have been mapped by the students, and more than 300 community members were involved into these activities. And you can see that some of the statistics so far, but this is, you can imagine this is just for a case of Zanzibar, for the case of Susa, in which 1,713 amenities have been mapped, and which have started about 150 kilometers for the roadside, and more than 38,000 buildings, and 6,201 businesses, and more than 80 tourist features, which have been mapped in 2020 at Nungu in Zanzibar. Next slide. So the students, because they gain different skills, and within the internship program, during the internship program, there was this microtasking as an example. It was piloted to the students, and around 120 university students participated into this task, and it involves the validation data task of world settlement footprint for the future urban planning and disaster risk reduction. And this provided employment opportunities for the youth. And most of the students who participated in the Resilience Academy got this opportunity to participate into this, and they gained different skills related to geospatial technology and the tools to use into this. And into this activity, about 490 buildings were verified. And when they were given a survey, 80% of the students were very satisfied with this new experience. And the fact that this microtasking happened during the COVID-19 phase, so it was a very right time that people were not able to work closely to each other, but at least the students could perform their task while they are at home with their mobile phones or with their laptops. Next slide, please. So to sum up, we have seen that industrial training exposes students to digital geospatial skills to map the unmapped and make community assets visible. And this also exposes students to the actual challenges and interact with the communities. So the students were basically dealing with the real world problems that exist into our communities. And in each step, they involve the community into these activities. And some of the data that were collected by the students included the flood-prone areas. They mapped the flood-prone areas. They also mapped drainage systems. So we have quite a number of drainage data. Also, they got the opportunity to work with the climate risk database that has been introduced by Teofrida. So the data is shared there so that it can be accessible and it can be opened to everyone so that it can be used in different purposes like research and other things. But in addition to this, the Resilience Academy internship program opened opportunities for the students who have these skills already to participate for digital microwork employments, such as the microtasking that I have explained previously. So I think this marks Next slide, please. But I think this marks the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Raya. I think, yeah, before we go to hearing the experiences of students about the same process, we have learned through this, especially the three component presentation, that there's a way to still question ourselves. How do we use the local organization? How do we use the university and school? And also, how do you develop skills to the university students in such a way that students are able to be engaged and be able to engage the community in order to generate this kind of information and data. At the same time, therefore, give students experiences to engage and work, but at the same time, learn or get skills. Keep all the questions in the chat, and please remember to highlight who would you want to, or who do you send that question to from the panelists or from the presenters. So now I would like to invite one of the students who will give his experience being participated into the one of the program in the Resilience Academy. Firstly, I would like to invite Humphrey Mlema. If you give me a minute, I will share your slide here. Okay, now sharing your slide. As we are almost running out of time, please try to be as quick as possible.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. My name is Humphrey Brema. I'm studying at Art University. I'm taking my Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning. Currently, I'm in my 3rd year. This program takes actually 4 years, so I'm expecting to graduate next year, 2022. Apart from my studies, I'm also passionate with issues of climate action and community leadership. Yeah, for 2 years consecutively, I've been doing my industrial training or practical training at Ramani Huria and Tanzania Resilience Academy. And before you, I want to share you my experience as I've been working with this project for the 2 years. So here it goes. Next. Yeah, I undertook my industrial training at Ramani Huria in 2 years, which is 2019 and 2020. Let me start because for these 2 years we have been doing different activities, or I have participated in different activities. By starting in 2019, I participated in the industrial training whereby I did drainage mapping in areas prone to floods. I, with my other colleagues, visited more than 14 wards in Dar es Salaam for the aim of collecting drainage mapping data, which help us in knowing the status of drains which are found in the areas and how this data can be used in providing digital information concerning floods. Also, I also performed software works which include digitization and data cleaning using different software, including QGIS and JOSM, which is Java OpenStreetMap. The next slide shows one of the activities which we did. And this is a demonstration of drainage mapping as one of the examples. Next, please. Yeah, this was in 2019 when we did drainage mapping, and this was one of the demonstrations that was supervised by a community team mapping from Resilience Academy of how drainage mapping can be done in different subwards found in Dar es Salaam. Next. Yeah, in 2020, that is last year, I also participated in the industrial training, and this time we collected data on flood extent in 21 wards of Dar es Salaam. I was also trained on different ways of collecting data, example by using Kobo Toolbox, Open Data Kit, ODK, and also we worked on digitization of mapped areas in Dar es Salaam as one of the projects which are done under the Tanzania Resilience Academy. The photo attached with this slide is a satellite image which shows a digitized area in Dar es Salaam which are prone to floods. Example was the high rainfall which happened in Dar es Salaam in 12th October. Due to this, we collected data which is raw data from the environment on how flood can be controlled by using digital modes. Next. Okay, skills I learned. There are a lot of skills which are helpful and productive I learned through Tanzania Resilience Academy. Mostly, first and foremost was the skills which I got during the orientation. Normally, before starting mapping, the first week of our industrial training, the team does orientation of how our industrial training will be and what kind of areas and issues we will be dealing with. So at the first week, we got an introduction of a lot of skills that are important and indispensable during our industrial training. This includes the skills for tree mapping using our mobile phones. Another it is the skills for canopy mapping, skills for data quality, data management, and data sharing, skills for data cleaning by using GeoNode for data sharing. Also, we were introduced to the RA online platform with which we accessed a lot of important data, which maybe for some years back, this kind of data were accessed by using money, but right now they are open data and they are critical and important once anyone wants to do any project concerning climate and environment at large. This has given me a good experience to work with my fellow students and trainers for all the tenure that we were doing our training and fieldworks. Practically, this involved data collection in different areas, and it has been fun and something that I really enjoyed. Next. Yeah, this is one of my certificates. As I said before that, I did my industrial training twice. First time it is 2019 and this is 2020. And luckily enough, I have all two certificates, but I have touched one of them as a sample. This is one of the certificates which I was awarded by the Resilience Academy team as a certificate of participation. And good enough, I've already included it in my CV because it was a very good moment that I had. I learned and gained a lot of knowledge concerning GIS. Next. Okay, I was also one of the participants for the visualization challenge, with which I gained a lot of skills because it was an opportunity to learn more on visualization using the open source tools which have been uploaded in websites. We also get access to the data of CRD climate risk database that we used to work on our visualization challenges. And it was a new experience to work on the challenges that exist in Dar es Salaam, since you can opt to choose any area of your choice that you want to take your visualization challenge. Through this, I also meet other students from other universities which are our partners, including UDSM, University of Dar es Salaam, State University of Zanzibar, with which I have created networks and gained other skills from them too. It has been a very good and wonderful experience for doing this presentation of our visualization challenge. However, I will try again because every time which I participate, there is something new which I learn, and hopefully that for this chance I will win. Next. Okay, before concluding, I wish to present my opinions. First of all, I like to be one of the students who participated in Resilience Academy because it helped me to learn new skills, to get experience. I remember when I told my parents that I'm doing projects concerning issues of flood and issues of climate action, they were really impressed, they were interested, and they saw that this is one of the best opportunities that I have got. So through this, it has experience of real work on real problems, since you are solving things which are really affecting the community that you are living in. During our field, we met community leaders, including ward executive officers, and we got narratives of how these communities are affected by different disasters, including climate, including floods. So through it, it has been a great opportunity for me to learn. And while learning, we were paid some stipends and allowances, which helped me to afford life here in Dar es Salaam. And furthermore, I'll be available for any working opportunity that will come. And I hope that I will get more skills, knowledge, and experience in impacting my community. Thank you so much. I rest my case.
Thank you so much, Humphrey, for sharing your experience. I would like to now invite a second student quickly, now that we are going really out of time. I would like to invite another student, and this is called Hidayah Khatib Makame from State University of Zanzibar. I will share your slide if you give me a few seconds. Now sharing your slide. Okay, up to you, Hidayah. Karibu sana.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. My name is Hidayah Khatib Makame, a graduate from the State University of Zanzibar. Next, please. Actually, a graduate in 30 December in 2020 at the State University of Zanzibar for Bachelor of Information Technology, Application and Management. I'm now currently working as a volunteer in Youth Challenge International, focusing on gender equality and social entrepreneurship in ecosystem in Tanzania. We actually, based on her start, to create, to make women to innovate different things in Tanzania. I am passionate with the geographic information system and project management. Next. Being a participant for RIA micropayment in 2020, I was gained so many opportunities and skills, include opportunity of working and getting paid while I am at home, and also to gaining new skills for working with a mobile phone while doing mapping of building in online, but also online, we get online training about the mobile app we used to work, and we get a great support for the team who organize the micro work. But also we're getting paid using mobile phone, which are used to create and build more technology in Tanzania. Next, please. But also I was a participant in Data Visualization Challenge in 2019 and 2020. Actually, we gained so many opportunities and we learn more about visualization tools using open source like a Leaflet, Mapbox, but also OpenStreetMap. And we get access to available data in climate risk database that we use to work on our visualization challenge. But also we gain a new experience in working on the challenge that exists in Zanzibar. And we met other students who are from Buddhism, Aru, and SUA, which will create a best network to us. But also it is a new experience for doing a presentation of our visualization challenge to the audience like this. Next, please. Actually, my opinion to visualization challenge is about everything was done as it was organized, and both visualization challenge and micropayment encourage a student to learn these tools and be able to gain skills, but also it is a good place for collaboration between a student and the mentors. I mean university lectures, especially during visualization challenge. It is a good platform to learn and gain skills about data and also this geospatial visualization technique. And it is a good platform to experience the real world cases, and that is a visualization challenge. Actually, for us, we gain so many things as a team. We create a we will create a web map. The first one was about the proximity of hazard and risk area for flood in Zanzibar, and the second one was a impediment for the drainage bottleneck in Zanzibar. We are focused on searching a different material in Zanzibar, especially in Zanzibar. Next, please. Thank you very much indeed. You can contact me through my email, hidayakhatib111@gmail.com. Thank you. You are welcome, and to participate in data visualization challenge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hidayah Khatib, for sharing that nice experience for being one of the students when you were studying at the university, as one of the data visualization and also micropayment. As we have still some presentation, but before we go to the presentation, I would like to welcome Venla to take us through the engagement, kind of break-ish, but engaging into the nice game. Welcome, Venla.
Asante sana, Ms. Likale. Brief break. We would like to ask all the participants once more, open the poll link that I already shared in the chat. Let me share it again. Here it is. It is the same link that we used before. Please click it, and this time we will ask you or sensitize you with resilience themes. We are going to continue with some use cases of Resilience Academy with our partners. And as we know, the resilience means that communities are able to overcome some hazards or threats they encounter in their lives. And as we know, they are very diverse in nature, regionally, and in city-wise and in neighborhood-wise. And we would love to know what kind of hazards or threats have your community, your family or neighborhood, or even city or town been encountering. You may choose one or many options if you have encountered different kind of threats. And yes, please go ahead and click these, and I will share you the live results as well. There is also an option for other. We have included some environmental hazards, and of course there are many others. Perfect, thank you so much for the answers. We can see that heavy rain is really quite frequent hazard that is affected many communities and cities and individuals, but there is also some drought and floods which are heavily interconnected. Air pollution, fires as well, disease outbreak, as we all know, the COVID-19 epidemics in regional level as well. Some weather and rock and landfall issues as well. I won't take any more minutes. Let's continue with the presentation, but please know that this poll is active. You may respond to while the next presenters are speaking. Thank you so much for this one.
Thank you so much, Venla. So we have two more presentations, and these presentations are coming from the partners who have been working on the ground with students as hosts to coordinate the mapping and community mapping. Here we will hear everything that have been shared with the students, but also with the Resilience Academy. Starting with Innocent Maholi. So Innocent Maholi is a co-founder of a local mapping organization called Open Map Development Tanzania, OMDTZ. And he's also been, is a country manager working on Human Urban State Map. Now, if you give me a minute, I will share your screen. your slide. I'm trying to be multitasking today.
Yeah,
Okay.
so while Msirikale is putting up the presentations, thank you, Msirikale, for this opportunity and the Resilience Academy in general. I hope you can see me. I think there is.
Yes, we can see you very well. Thank you.
All right. So as introduced, my name is Innocent Maholi. I am the executive director of an organization called Open Map Development Tanzania, which is a local NGO that does mapping and promotes open data. And today I'll be talking about the collaboration between OMDTZ and Resilience Academy in relationship to World Bank funded projects Ramani Huria and tree mapping on developing skills for university students. Next slide, please. Yeah, so before that, I'd like to introduce what's OMDTZ. As I said, it's Open Map Development Tanzania, abbreviated as OMDTZ. It's a local NGO that does, promote community mapping projects, which are mainly focused on bringing solutions to communities' challenges. And also we create or generate map awareness through involving university students and also community members and government stakeholders, private and public companies as well, to make sure that the maps can be able to solve some of the challenges that are facing the stakeholders. The third one is on is we actively pledge on open data set, and we promote open data set and open source technologies. As you can hear from the previous students that were presenting about, their engagement within industrial training and within the different projects, but also we are able to use open source technologies and also, creating open data set that can be transforming, challenges into, solutions. And the last one is we continue to build a network of mappers in the country through engagement with university students, but also the engagement does not end there. We have different programs that are aimed at, bringing and making sure that, the youth and community members and other people in the communities are engaged in, mapping, but also using the map products. And what we do is actually what I was just saying. So we focus on data collection through community mapping approach. And also we focus on training and building capacity. And this is more into, like I said, university students and other stakeholders. The last one is on innovation, GIS and open source technology. And in innovation, we invest our time and energy into technologies that can be helpful in, reducing stress in mapping, otherwise also visualizing data, how, data can be acquired from the field, like the use of, bamboo drones and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you for that. Next slide, please. So on this slide, I'll talk about how we engage with university students during the industrial training. Msirikale, if you click once, yes, again. So here I'll talk about the objectives. The objectives here are, the first one is to introduce students to open mapping and open source softwares, and as well as open data. We have, like, if you heard from the one of the professors, we have a problem with accessing data. And if we can be able to leverage or make advantage of open source technology and open data to make sure that we compile and create data that is meaningful, we'll be able to help government actors and public and private actors as well to be able to make solutions with the data that is created. The second one is we impart students with marketable skills. Mind you that the universities that we work with, like Alva University, University of Dar es Salaam, SUZA, State University of Zanzibar, and Sokoine University of Agriculture, these students are having different programs that they are pursuing in their career. So, for example, urban planners at Alva University will be able to get knowledge on how they can, create data set and then leverage the knowledge they have, and then create data set that can be able to help them in making decision while in the office. And the third and fourth one are working on to work on with students to create data that is to solve real life challenges. And I'll be on more examples when I go into the next slide. And the last one is to create experienced professionals. So Msikali, if you click twice, yes, on the process, like what the students say, so we usually have, like the industrial training is usually 8 weeks. So it takes 8 weeks to accomplish the program. And we usually take 1 or 2 weeks to do some classroom training. And this is around introducing students to open data collection tools, and also community mapping techniques, because it needs to be taught before we go to the field, that how the student will be communicating with the community members and also community leaders. And also the last part is on for students that are doing tech and innovation, getting chance to get introduced to innovation and tools that we are working on, like bamboo drone, for example, and so forth. And the second part is doing a little bit of mapping exercises. And this is where students are just testing out mapping tools, making sure that they are familiarized with the tools they're using, and making sure that if they have any queries, they can be resolved before they go to the field. And the third one is actual data collection with community members. So mind you that in the first process, we introduce students to community mapping techniques, where they introduced how they're going to engage with community members and community leaders. So in the third item, this is when students are really using the technique that they have learned to collect information. And the information is mostly based on buildings. Like in Dar es Salaam, we have mapped more than 1 million buildings with using the same kind of approach with students and community members. And also doing a lot of drainage mapping, which is a little bit technical, but students are very eager to learn about ODK and how this can be used to collect drainage data. The last ones, as you can read, are historical flood extent and workforce. And these are different incidents where in Dar es Salaam you have like flooding every rainy season. So students are getting, that kind of, experience to go out and collect data that can be, that is actually meaningful for the city of Dar es Salaam, Mwanza, and others. The fourth one is quality assurance, where students are, introduced to the mapping tools, the data analysis tools, and how they're going to use the tools to make sure that the data is good and of high quality. And right after that, they are going to another process, which is map making. They're using their skills to create maps that are then shared with communities in the next process. Mshirikali, if you go to you click twice again. So the outcomes here is, first one is creation of open data for decision makers. And the data is readily available on different platforms, and these are open platforms. The first one is OpenStreetMap. I'm sure that most of you guys have heard about OpenStreetMap. And the second one is the CRD, Climate Risk Database, the one that one of the professors was talking about. And these are open platforms where people can be able to go and download the information they want to download, and then make use of the information for research purposes, for decision-making purposes, and so forth. And the second one is dissemination of open knowledge and open mapping tools, like I said. So Open Data Kit, QGIS, and JOSM, and so forth. These are some of the tools that we usually train to students. And then students are being able to use the tools for their own, further development or career in the next step. And the third one is on advancement of professionalism. So like I've talked about urban planners at Aldo University and environmental specialists at UDSM and so forth. So these students are getting, introduced to all of these, and then with enough experience out there into the field and, collecting actual data and, analyzing data, it makes them very, competent in their professionalisms. Msirikali, if you click again, next slide, please. So here's just pictures just to show you, the process. So the first one, like I said, is classroom training, where this is mainly on, students are using their phones and, computers to just go through, the training on the tools and so forth. And the second thing is mapping exercises, where students are just, wandering around the area of interest to collect some data, like, trees, for example, so that they can familiarize with the forms and the mapping tools. And the third picture is data collection tools. You can see a little bit of phones, GPS units, and pieces of papers to show where the students are going to collect data. The picture you see in the left bottom is data collection. The students are using the techniques that they have acquired to go out and collect data. And as you can see here, the students are very happy, learning the process and being able to apply what they learned in the classroom, and being able to apply the process and collect data into the field. And there is quality assurance and maps making, and then there is community maps share back. And this is where students get to engage with community members again and community leaders. And this usually tends to boost their leadership skills, because now they have opportunity to interact with community leaders at different levels, and showing them the maps and how the maps are going to help them resolving issues within their areas. The next slide. The purpose of this slide was to show you OpenStreetMap. Yeah, it's live, and you can see that right now it's zooming in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. And I hope most of you guys are able to follow about OpenStreetMap. Otherwise, I'll just share my my contacts for anyone who is interested. But in Dar es Salaam, we have been able to, in Dar es Salaam, Mwanza, Mbeya, and Morogoro, we have been able to collect lots of information, which ranges from buildings, roads, drainage, flood extent, and so forth. And like I said, this is within the open source platforms as OpenStreetMap is, and CRD. The next slide, please. Last one. This is just a summary of the impacts we have been able to create. So we have trained more than 1,500 students. And like you heard, two students that were talking about, they are talking about the experience they've had, with Open Map Development Tanzania, but with another company in Zanzibar. But apart from that, we have been able to create, certified drone pilots. We have a few people, within the team and outside the team that have been able to be certified as drone pilots, as far as the program as and then there's university lectures, and we have been able to create a little bit of impacts there, where we have lectures at Alva University, St. Joseph University in Tanzania, the Institute, and IRP. The rest is, you can read, urban planners, community mapping supervisors and managers, and also GS experts and consultants. So this is more like the impact that we have been able to create. The next slide will be information where if interested, you can be able to reach out, but I'm also pasting some information where you can read about OMDTZ and the Ramani Huria project, and as well as the social media accounts. Thank you for the opportunity to talk.
Wow, thank you so much, Innocent Maholi, for your nice and quick presentation. We have another presenter who is alongside the OMDTZ, and this is Justus Muhando from Spatial Collective. So he is a technical leader of the Spatial Collective Limited, and he's already sharing his screen. He's going to present about his experience, and also as an organization working with the Resilience Academy with generating data with students in Zanzibar. Welcome.
Thank you, Msc Lekale. My name is Justus Muhando, as Msc Lekale said, and I'm the technical lead at Spatial Collective. We are based in Nairobi, and we've had various projects in East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, Somalia. So for this presentation, I just like to share a little bit about our engagement with the Resilience Academy, and specifically what we've been able to do with the State University of Zanzibar. So as a geospatial practitioners company, one of our goals for this activity was to offer students an experiential learning experience. And by this I mean, the students usually have like very theoretical classes, few practical sessions. So one of the things that we're looking at is to link all the theoretical aspects that they learn together with practical experience that we would offer them, or create an environment where they'll be able to learn. And also what we wanted to do is also to expose the students to make them understand the intersections between the different disciplines that they are learning. So there are students who work in who study computer science, others study geography, others study marine. So it was just trying to bring all these things together to see how we can create how we can expose them to an environment where they're able to learn about different things. Secondly, was also to test and deploy cheap technology that is available to collect data, and the most important one is to generate various data sets that can satisfy various data needs in Zanzibar. So how did we do this? I usually have an approach that as a trained surveyor we like to use a whole to part approach. So what do I mean by this? So for example, in Nugu we had a project where we were supposed to do to map tourism. So together with the students, we took them through the whole process where we explored the theme of tourism. So what is it? What are the data collection needs? And what do we need to do in order to generate useful data sets for tourism in Zanzibar? So this involved activities like carrying out stakeholder mapping, identifying different stakeholders in the tourism sector, meeting them and understanding their data needs. And also the students got to understand, okay, what data already exists and what data is missing. And from that, they carried out their own research, trying to understand the different data sets as they relate to tourism and what data needs to in order to satisfy the goal of the project. So after that, we put together a suite of different tools. As Innocent mentioned, there are very many free and open source available software tools to use. So the students had to take the lead on this, trying to understand, okay, this tool, how do I use it, and for what purpose, and what data do I achieve in the end. This also involved using the smartphone, setting up different questionnaires to capture different data points as they regard to tourism, and also fabricating local tools to be able to capture different data, say, for example, measuring the depth of water or the width of roads in different areas. So this whole process, it was student-centered, and we're just trying to supervise and give them guidance on the different tools that they would use, and the benefits and drawbacks of each tool. But then, as I had said before, give them the whole experience of trying to learn how do we set up this tool and what do we expect in the end. So after that, we went to the field, student-led, working with the communities, collecting different data points as they regard to tourism. So for example, the different tourism attractions that exist, the different mapping the bed capacities, the different types of accommodation facilities available in Zanzibar. And just to finish, I'd like to share with you a couple of visualizations that we came up with. So this is an example of building digitization activity. And from this, we can get a glimpse of how the city is growing just by looking at the concentration of where foundations are in the city. This one helps us to understand the service or the geography of service delivery within certain sections of the city. This one specifically shows the households where the residents do not have a dedicated waste management system. Also through household surveys, we are able to gather very disaggregated data. So this one shows an example of where households are flooding, and further we can investigate why different households experience flooding. And then as regards to data use, which I think is the most important thing for this activity, all the methods that previous presenters have been going through, community methods, student-led methods, cheaply and available tools, all these things, we brought them together, and the Commission for Lands was really encouraged by the quality of data that was coming, and we are currently piloting with them the use of the same methodology, but now taking it to land adjudication. As you know, land adjudication uses very antiquated methods to capture land. So we're working with them to try and see how we can incorporate these cheap and affordable tools in land adjudication and hasten the process of issuing people with title deeds. So this is one practical example of how the methods and the data that is coming out can be further used for other activities. All in all, I think the Resilience Academy is a good initiative that helps build capacity for community-led data collection initiatives, and it also builds a pool of trained, skilled, trained young people who can be engaged for various activities, and it also makes it easier for them to get into the job market. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justus, for your presentation. We have two last presentations before we go to the discussion questions. I hope the participant, you still have your question and you remember. But again, as I said, if you have already questions, you can put in the chat mentioning to the presenter, and then try to respond or to go back to this during the discussion and question and answer session. Now I'd like to welcome our next presenter, and this is Sebastian Kettner. This is one of the kind of organizations that have kind of worked with the Resilience Academy, but at the same time aiming to benefit with the service or the process. So this is kind of, with this presentation, the next presentation, we will be hearing about how the Resilience Academy is contributing to the engaging with the kind of partner who I need with the data as so that we are also experienced. We need a few seconds for me to share your slide.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Likale. I will already start introducing Greenstand. We're before the slides start, no problem. Oh, there they are. We're an international non-profit organization, and we are the driver of an open source product, and we are basically trying to find gaps where we can build software that really helps us to get data in a very simple way. So this is kind of going back to I think that the biggest challenge in Africa or in this context is that you have a lot of people often that are not very skilled, but there's a great need for data, and there's a great chance to get good data if your methodology is simple enough and easy to follow. So this is kind of where Greenstand came out of. And we're basically focusing on a product called Tree Tracker, which is, yeah, you can go to the next slide, sorry. So we're focusing on a product called Tree Tracker, which allows basically people to track the individual trees, and then they get verified and they get basically put in a digital format and put into wallets, and the impact is then basically tradable. So just to run through, I really want to try and keep it short. As you can read, those are our parameters here. You can go to the next slide. And in this context, we basically have spearheaded a project in Sierra Leone with Freetown, and that's very much about urban reforestation. And what you can see there is, for example, part of our map. This is the Freetown City Council basically reforesting parts of the of Freetown, and we have a tool that allows a very simple way to capture what people are doing, who is responsible for it, and then we pack it into a token. As you can see, the impact owner is what we call it, is the Freetown City Council, and that could, for example, then be passed on to a financing body or a donor or something. Yeah, and this is token ID, etc. So you can go to next slide. Just to give you a quick rundown on the model, there is basically you've got the investor, and then you have the city council or organization or government, and then you have the form of a tree steward or city tree steward, and that tree steward is basically using Greenstand technology to track the individual impacts, and then we put it in a wallet, and through that wallet we can communicate it back to the investor or the social security fund or donor or yeah, any other organization. And then obviously we have data, so we can start talking about the possibility of carbon credits. Those are things that will come later. It's just that we're actually collecting data that can answer those questions at some point in time. Can we go to the next slide, please? In the city of Freetown, this was done through CBOs, so the whole planting organization planting campaign was organized through CBOs and then through individual tree stewards, and you can follow the individual basically, or the data stream basically going through the CBO staff members, and then it gets verified through an independent monitoring team, and then the FCC, Freetown City Council, and the World Bank, in this case, as a financing body, they then have that data in real time, always available. Yeah, go next, please. So this is our model at a glance. As I already said, we basically have impact capturing, then we have payment for those impact captures. So this is micropayments. This has been mentioned a couple of times before in other presentations, that is a very effective way to get data off the ground, is basically to pay people for their data services. So that's something we're also really working out with mobile payment, etc. So micro work basically. Impact monitoring and sharing is basically the map that you saw earlier, and then impact finance and trading is the actual impact broker platform that we're building, and the whole wallet system behind it. You can go to the next slide. So the context with the last year's SUA placement was basically in combination with partnership with OMDTZ. We have organized this placement at SUA and have had 20 students to, for example, here do a tracking exercise in the field And this is obviously great data for us to have in terms of, you can go to the next slide. I think it shows it. So basically this is showing our admin panel, where basically the data is screened and then post-processed. And next slide. Yeah, this is just a detailed view again. So you can go to the next slide. And so in our case, this was kind of interesting data that we are looking for, because this is something where in production and in our actual daily workflow, we have a lot of different phone models, for example, all over the world, and to really understand the difference between them in terms of accuracy and even quality of the images, etc., is very important for us. But it was also interesting to just see the data that we provided, or the data that we capture, that we are able to share it amongst these different platforms and these different approaches from the different partners. So this is something I think in general, I think is a good exercise to collect data and then be able to share it amongst different interest groups, and have obviously a common interest in providing better services, and then working towards climate resilience, etc., etc. So that was pretty much it. Next slide. So what we learned is basically that again, on the ground data curators and verifying impact, collecting data is really something that we believe is a job of the future, and something that can be done remotely and is really enabled by technology. And this is something we're building with our open source community, and the community is also now really extending into Africa. So this is something very exciting from our side. So we're always welcome to welcoming new contributors to Greenstand. So yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sebastian. I think we really way out of time, and it would be nice to really get some of the kind of questions and hear what the participants have learned, and also contribute to the presentations. We had last slide, which was kind of important, do you think, Luisa, you can just quickly say a quick few words for your presentation, and then we don't need to go through the whole slide, but just say a few words, and then we can go to this question and answers, which is very important, I think. Karibu.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Msc Research. So I work for the World Bank and the Tanzania Urban Resilience Program that has been financing the Resilience Academy since 2017, I think. And the money originally comes from UK aid. I guess my main point I just want to make, as you've seen in these last few hours, we have a lot of activities going on in Tanzania. And from the World Bank's point of view, I would say that we have just ended the phase where we are exploring this. We are trying to see what can we do with the new digital technology that has emerged in only the last 10 years, and how can we include that in our operations together with our partners and the governments that we work with. So for an organization like the World Bank, these mapping approaches holds a lot of potential to inform the investments, particularly infrastructure investments that are to be done in countries throughout Africa. And that conversation has only started with our counterparts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luisa. That's really perfect. Like a few sentences, you nailed it. Anyway, so thank you all for the presenters. But if I just really quickly say the presentation that we've had. So we had a presentation to introduce us about the Resilience Academy concept. And then we have the university expert or professors and lecturers who have gone through the different components of the Resilience Academy. One of them is being using of CRD and Geospatial database. for saving and curating data. And then the other component was about the e-learning materials and also the research of potentials, opportunities by looking into the data that have been collected from the communities, that really exploring the challenge description and also looking for the solutions. And the last presentation from the university Resilience Academy expert was about industry training concept on the way that students can be engaged into the working into practicals, but also at the same time learning and also doing the actual work, doing data collections. And this has been nailed also further in the, by hearing what student experiences from the students who have presented. And then we have had also about from 2 organizations that have been partners and also hosts of these students to help them really get these skills and learn, and also doing the actual mapping in the fieldwork. And then we have had 2 last presentations, one from Greenstand and the other one, which was summarized here in sentence from the World Bank, really just as partners who have kind of benefited or gained through this concept, where data have been generated and they're really looking for this data, and therefore they really got the data that have been collected from this process.